So the next thing to happen on Friday Night SmackDown. Now, before we talk about the Judgment Day, we got to talk about a segment that happened backstage. So we see Paul Heyman. He's talking to Adam Pearce backstage about the situation with AJ Styles and Jimmy Uso, stuff like that, you know. And then all of a sudden, LA Knight comes walking up in there, interrupting them. And LA Knight looks at Adam Pearce and he goes like, "Look, I want that match against The Miz next week on SmackDown, and I think next week on SmackDown, I think so. Raw or SmackDown, one of the two, but he said next week, so I'm guessing SmackDown." And Adam Pearce said, "Sure thing, we're going to make that match possible." So yeah, LA Knight versus The Miz one-on-one next week on SmackDown, and then Paul Heyman comes up and he introduces himself to LA Knight. He goes like, "Look, I'm a big fan, yeah." And he goes like, "See, yeah." I say, "Yeah, that's a trendy thing to say, ain't it?" And then he looks at LA Knight and he goes like, "Look, next time when you're about to enter the room, when I'm in a meeting, you better knock on the door next time." And then LA Knight pulls Paul Heyman up and he looks at him and he goes like, "Yeah," and then walked away. So yeah, that's what happened there. Well, Paul Heyman walked away. But yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff. But then after that, we see the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Finn Bálor and Senior Money in the Bank Damien Priest and the NXT North American Champion Dominik Mysterio of the Judgment Day inside the ring. Finn Bálor starts talking about the Judgment Day, how the Judgment Day has the gold and all that stuff, and how they are the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. And then Dominik Mysterio was trying to talk, but everybody was just booing the hell out of him, so he was getting booed out the building, you know, and yeah, people just did not like Dominik. And yeah, Dominik was trying to talk, and apparently it's the 1 year anniversary or whatever of him being a part of the Judgment Day. That's what they said. But then Damien Priest was talking, and he says that, you know, the bloodline's crumbling and all that stuff. And he goes like, "There are some things that the bloodline couldn't accomplish that we accomplished. And there are some things that Roman Reigns couldn't accomplish himself." And he says that's becoming the tag team champions, and that's defeating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, something that Roman Reigns and the Bloodline couldn't do. So yeah, that's what Damien Priest was saying. But then all of a sudden they get interrupted by Ridge Holland and Butch, the Brawling Bruce, their opponents. They come out there and Butch was talking about how it's fight night and everything, and then Ridge Holland was talking about like there's one thing that he likes to do, and that's tossing and breaking people away. So that's what he says, and they get into the ring. And then Finn Bálor gets in Butch's face and all that stuff, talking about what you gonna do, little man, and all that stuff, you know, because Ridge Holland was like, "Butch is a feisty one. You don't want to mess with him, man." Finn Bálor just poking at Butch pretty much, just starts literally poking at him, and then Butch just grabs his fingers and snaps it. And then the Judgment Day and all that stuff started brawling, and then they knocked the Judgment Day out the ring. And then we get to the tag team match, Judgment Day versus the Brawling Brutes. So yeah, we get to the tag team match, and this match, it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth and everything, but then we see Elton Prince and Kit Wilson pretty deadly watching this match backstage on the TV monitor and all that stuff. So yeah, they was watching this match very closely because of the Brawling Brutes, and yeah, pretty good match between the Brawling Brutes and the Judgment Day, going back and forth and everything. Brawling Brutes almost picked up the win a few times, like we see at one point Finn Bálor coming up, hitting a sling blade onto Butch. And then he hits that shotgun drop kick onto him in the corner, climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumps off with the coup de grace, but Butch moves out the way, but Finn lands on his feet. But then that's when Butch comes up with the crucifix pin, getting the 2 count out of that. So Finn barely kicks out at 2 out of that. And then after that happened, we see Damien Priest come in there grabbing Butch by the throat and all that stuff, because Finn Bálor doesn't tagged him in, and he tries to hit the South of Heaven onto him up until when he lifted up Butch kicked him upside the head, and then Butch tags in Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland comes in there tossing Damien Priest around and starts beating down Finn Bálor as well, but then Damien Priest comes up grabbing Ridge Holland by the throat, hitting South of Heaven onto him, and then Butch comes in there and he gets grabbed by the throat as well and gets chokeslammed onto Ridge Holland, getting laid out. Damien Priest tags in Finn Bálor. Bálor climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumps off with the coup de grace onto Ridge Holland and pins him for the 3 count. So yeah, the Judgment Day defeated the Brawling Brutes tonight in a tag team match. That's what happened. Pretty good match though. I'll give that match 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a good match. these matches so far tonight has been pretty good. But then, after the match ended, all of a sudden, we see Bobby Lashley and Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, the Street Profits, come out. So yeah, the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley comes out, and Bobby Lashley grabs the mic and he goes like, you know what, you're somewhat right with the bloodline crumbling and all that stuff, but he says that him and the Street Profits are the most dominant group in WWE, and they're going to come after the tag team titles and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what they was saying. Pretty good stuff right there. Getting face to face with the Judgement Day and all that stuff. But then after that, we see Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Mia Yim backstage at the OC. Carl Anderson showing Mia Yim some videos and stuff on his phone and all that stuff. AJ Styles comes up pissed off and everything. Anderson's trying to calm him down, talking about like don't get involved with the bloodline business. Styles gets mad, slaps the phone out of his hands, and he starts talking a lot of crap to Anderson and Gallows and all that stuff. Talking about we're supposed to have each other's backs. And that's the issue. Y'all don't want to have my back. So he says, you know what, how about this? Y'all just stay back here and I'll just go deal with my match next. So yeah, that's what he said right there. And then after that, we see Asuka backstage. And Asuka's talking to the camera, talking about how Io Sky got her women's championship. And she says that she's going to get back her women's title in 2 weeks. And she is not ready for Asuka. So yeah, that's what Asuka said about Io Sky. And yeah, that match will be happening in 2 weeks. Io Sky versus Asuka for the WWE Women's Championship. But yeah, up next will be the main event. Jimmy Uso versus AJ Styles, 1-on-1, up next on Friday Night SmackDown. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then.